Another important common and bone in a moho is smart bone dial. We want to create something like this in the dials. Okay, not this, but a simple thing. Let's do in new scene. For example, we have in a previous lesson we explained how to constraint. Okay, go to the. And if you add a constraint to your eye, and we want to add a blink, and with a bone, we want to make a blinking simulation. So if we this in the folder, we create a new vector. Why it's turned off? Because we are in a one mode of timeline. It's an animation mode. We are going to the null mode. Boom, 0. And then we can create a new vector here for blinking. We bring it there, and it's automatically assigned it as a mask. And then we create another ellipse here. That's for blinking. Sorry for that. Yeah. I think it's a bug, but select it, change it color to this. And as you can see, it's a blink. And we want to create a blink. So be careful. Any bone, deselect all of the bones and create a new bone. Create a new bone that we want to convert it to dialing bone. It's selected, going to the bone, and make the smart bone dial. Boom. It's converted to the dialing. It's creating in this direction, and the bone dialing store an animation of the object, and you can with changing it, it's creating the blinking. For example, I want to make a blink animation. The name it's important. We name it a blink. And it's a minimum and maximum angle. You can create an angle here. For example, negative 17. And the duration, how smooth is this dialing is moving. Please select this 100 is nice. You see that. Turn off the separate action for positive and negative angle. It means it separate the positive and separate the negative angle. We don't want that in most cases. We want a unique angle. We don't want to separate it from the 0. Hit OK. A different thing will be happen here. Another window will be open here. That's a very important tab. It's a action. I bring it there. Actually, I cannot attach it, but it can be here. Okay, and as you can see, we created blink action. The actions are the common things and objects that store an animation, something in themselves, and then we can call it later and use them. So as you can see, it's a filter. This is all about filter, and you can select all. This is our blink. You have to double click on it. It's very important. You have to double click on it. This arrow will mean this blink is active. And as you can see, we have another timeline. This color of the timeline, see, okay, you are in another timeline. It's not regular timeline. And as you can see, it's automatically creating dial animation for our bone. This is our blink animation. And in this duration, that is 100 frame, in this duration, you can assign any animation to that. Any animation to that. The animation of the layer that are inside this folder. It's important. Inside this folder. Okay. When dial is here, we want to blink it down. We going to the selecting layer, we coming down. As you can see, it's be careful about remember your 100 frame of your blinking. And if blink is in this direction, blink come to its halfway, and if it's come to exactly right here 100 frame, the end of our blink, it's completely open. Done. And as you can see, we connect this dialing animation to automatically create to our blinking animation in duration of the 100%. Okay, in duration of the 100%. But I think the 100% is nothing. But be careful about that. Don't go far away 100%. You can come below 100 frame of your blinking, but don't go further more 100% of your blinking. Okay. If you create your dialing bone, and you can select that if you want. Okay, this is our blinked, and close it. Okay, if you are going to the bone and then select this bone dialing, as you can see, this is our dialing duration, and you can change it if you want to more smooth or smaller. You can change the dial frame here. Okay, and this is not regular timeline. Okay, so for exiting that, we have to go to the window and another action, control case, very important. For exiting the action timeline, go to main line, double click, it's going to the main line, and close it. And as you can see, we have no keyframe in our main timeline because we are in a virtual, if we was in a virtual timeline, that we connecting the animation of dial to our animation of our blinking. And now if you come to 1 and go to manipulate, and as you can see, we're creating blinking animation here. Simple. Careful about that. So you can control it if you want. You can change the direction, and here you can you store this animation to this bone dial, and then you can animate it in main timeline. In a main timeline. If you want to come back and change animation, you have to go to Window, Actions, double click on the blink. We come to the virtual timeline, another timeline actually. That it's not a main timeline. And here is a animation of our dialing. And if you select your layer, here's the animation of your layer. You can make it faster, change the keyframe, anything that you want. If you want to blink more faster, you can compress the keyframe here. Nice. Let's give you another example to better understanding the actions. For example, we create a simple object here. I want to create a bone for creating the point animation of that. Right click, group with selection, convert to the bone. I explained it before. And we can create a simple bone here for controlling that. For example, we want to create mouth simulation. So this is our bone. It's selected, going to the bone. You can rename it anything that you want and convert it to the bone dial. It tells you which name do you want. Be careful about that. Don't change the name of this. If your bone is this name, make the action name exactly like this. Okay, the names are very important, and after that, don't change the name because it's disconnected from the bone dial. As I said before, you can change the angle of your bone dialing. In which angle do you want to move it? Yeah, you can change it from negative and positive. And this is a duration frame. You can change it any number that you want, but there's more frame, create a more smooth animation for you. This is a duration of your dial. For example, from 0 to 100, in this frame, we can connect any animation of any object to that and store it. It's okay. As you can see, the dial timeline will become, and as you can see, it's creates, okay, this is your dial. If the dial is here, what do you want to happen? If the dial is here, what do you want to happen? And it's just connecting the object that is in a folder of the bones. This structure is very important. Okay, for example, we select our layer, and the timeline for animating the layer that it want to connect it. The dial is here. You can deselect any point here. For example, one click. It means if dial is here, I want to our object come to this. If dial is in position, I want to this happen. And as you can see, you can create animation. If the dial is here, I want to this happen. If the dial is here, I want to, for example, this happen. If the dial is here, you can changing the shape of. And be careful, if the dial is at the 100% of its end, create something like this. And as you can see, depending on our dial position, we change our own animation, anything that you want, and everything is done. You can make it compress, but be careful about that. Don't go far from your 100 frame of your dial, because it does not store it. Be careful about that. So this is an as you can see, the actions comes here, and if you want to go to the main timeline and test it, you can go double click in action window, main line, and as you can see, we have no animation. We have no animation because this animation is controlled by dial, and you have to go to the select the folder that is a bone in it, go to the manipulate, and as you can see, this dial, if it's in position and changing, now you can see you can create an interesting animation by this dialing feature. Speaking, walking, morphing, we use a lot in dialing like this. Like this. As you can see, we have this manipulate. We have blinking, as you can see, it's blink. You learn how to use that. Noise. You can see all of these are making with the dial and changing the animation. Wow. Interesting. Okay, you learn an important lesson in action. As you can see, this gorilla has a lots of action. Double click, and as you can see, this is an animation of the dial, and you can so. Hello, my friends. To continue these tutorials on YouTube, subscribe us, like us, and hit the bell icon. And now you will be alerted about all of the amazing videos that we release.